Okay, so we're going to look at this problem right here. So it talks about a television news story claimed that half of U.S. adults have health issues. In a national poll about the health issues, 12,638 U.S. adults were surveyed. It was found that 6,413 had health issues, and at a 5% level of significance, they want to perform a hypothesis test to test if the claim made by the television news story is correct. So they want to know what's the correct conclusion. So I'm just going to start by just kind of writing out what information that we're looking for. So we're talking about proportion here. So we're talking about a population, and so our proportion here, or percentile. So this is the percent of U.S. adults with a health problem. Okay. And so I'm going to write out the hypothesis here. So we have our null hypothesis. And so this is the thing that is accepted to be true. So I'm going to say that the null hypothesis is that half, that the percentage of adults who have a health problem is 50% or 0.5. So I'm going to say E is equal to 0.5. And my alternate hypotheses, so if this is not true, our alternate hypothesis is going to be that it's simply not half. So P is not equal to 0.5. And so there's our hypothesis there. And they ask us about a 5% confidence level. So our alpha value here is going to be 0.05. All right. So in general, what does this mean? So if we have a normal distribution, normal population distribution, and here's our average. So we're saying that with our null hypothesis, right? Our null hypothesis is this is half of the people have health problems, and HA is our, so this is HO, this area here. So this has got to be half, right? This is 50% inside here. And then HA out here, so this is our HA, so this is HA, and this is HA. So the total of those two is also has to be 50%. So, all right, so here's what we want to do. We want to find the p-value. And so we're going to do a two-tail probability test on this, because we're looking at it's either half or it's not half. And so it's not half, so it's going to be on either side. So we're going to do a two-tail test. All right. Okay, so and the way that we're going to look at this is we're going to calculate the p-value. And what we're going to do here is if our p-value is less than alpha, right? Less than alpha. That means that we're going to accept our null hypothesis, right? So we're going to say that H0 is true. And if our p-value is greater than alpha, then we're going to accept the alternate hypothesis, okay? So we'll calculate that p-value. So there's some different ways of doing this. There's some videos out there to show you how to do it in Excel, and there's some videos that show you how to do that with your calculator. So I'm just going to use my TI calculator here. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Okay, but the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to go to stats and then over to test. And then I'm going to do this off of the stats. And so let's see, all right, step. let's try this again. Stat test. Sorry, we're going to do a two-tailed z-test. So it's a two proportional z-test. Okay, and so that's the wrong one again. So let's try that one more time. I want to do one proportional z-test. All right, so here we go. So our test here, our value that we're checking here is 50%, so our 0.5. So that's our proportion that we're looking at. And so our X number is, that's how many people were found to have health problems. So that's 6,413. And then the population that we surveyed was 12,648. And so, and we're just doing a double-ended test here. So we're seeing that it's not equal to that. And we'll go ahead and calculate the p-value for that. And we get a p-value of 0.094. So our p-value here is 0.094. Okay, and so we look at that compared to our alpha value. Our alpha value is 0.05. So the condition that we have is that our p-value is greater than our alpha value. Okay, so we're going to accept the alternate. So we're going to say that the television news crew claimed that 50%, or that half of the U.S. adults have health issues. And we're actually going to say that that is not true, that that 50%, that half of U.S. adults do not have a health problem. Now, it's not saying that it's more or less. It's just saying that it's not 50%. Okay, it could be greater than 50%. It could be less than 50%. And in fact, if you look at the statistics there from the z-test, it tells you that your p hat there, which is your percentage, is actually 50.7. So it's actually closer to 51% than it is to 50%. So it's actually slightly more than 50%. Okay, so we'll go ahead and end that problem right there.